a good one. 355 illegal immigrants arrive at the Rockford Airport in Illinois from Texas before being escorted out of town immediately by deputies. In the old movies where the sheriff would take somebody they didn't want in their town and get them all the way out to the border of the town and say, "Don't you ever come back into my county again." Something along those lines. That's literally what the folks are doing from the Rockford Airport. Get them on a bus, no stops, get them to Chicago. Yeah, that's the sanctuary way of handling things, right? Yeah, get them off our books, get them over there, over to the county border and let them loose. So we got going on. You've got this going on all over. Let's get into it. Here we go. 355 migrants arrive at Rockford Airport from Texas before being escorted out of town by deputies. It's such a nice way of placing things. Rockford, folks in Rockford in Winnebago County, they are apparently not sanctuary county. No. So now we are literally sending people via plane into these sanctuary cities. And if they don't quite get there, we'll let them work it out. So literally at the new year, what we're seeing is Let's Go Brandon Johnson of Chicago and Eric Adams of New York City. They're setting up all these executive decrees. Okay, you can bring them in here and here on this time schedule, but not here, not there. And it's got to be at this location. It can't be over here. So Greg Abbott, I mean, he's literally got 302,000, not just Texas, but Florida and Arizona combined took 302,000 illegal immigrants came across the border in December of 2023, last month. 302,000. So he's got to be able to move them on. These governors of these states have got to be able to move these folks on. So now they're putting them on a plane and they're flying them out. Well, the county they're flying them into don't like the illegal immigrants. The plane carrying 355 immigrants from Texas landed early Sunday morning at the Chicago Rockford International Airport before the passengers were immediately boarded onto buses and escorted to the McHenry County line, just like the old movies. See that route over there? That's the county line. I want you past it. I never want to see you again. Literally what they're doing. This is according to information from city and county officials. Winnebago County Sheriff Gary Caruna, Winnebago County Board Chairman Joe Chiarelli, both Republicans, and Rockford Mayor Tom McNamara, a Democrat, were alerted to plans for the plane's arrival late Saturday night. According to a joint statement from the three officials and airport director Zach Oakley, that plane, a private Boeing 777 coming from San Antonio, landed about 1 a.m. Sunday. So what's happening is we're just giving the middle finger to whatever executive orders these sanctuary cities had. They're just flying them in. Yeah, they got to go somewhere. Can't stay here because the southern borders have been overrun for years, right? They've literally taken millions of people. So spreading the love around. Here we go. Once the plane landed in Rockford, those on board were offloaded and immediately boarded buses. Winnebago County Sheriff's deputies escorted the buses to the McHenry County line. Yet a police escort. This is just, it's amazing, right? It's just like, okay, all right. I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of like, all right, yeah, that makes, okay, don't turn there. You got to keep going. Lights start flashing. No, you can't stop there at 7-Eleven. You can't stop to get any food. You got to keep going, get to the county border. So county officials told us that buses did not make any stops along the way to McHenry County. And what do you say? What do you say to all this? It's just, I mean, it's not just this area. Busload of migrants is dropped off at the state capitol in Denver. Here you go. Enjoy. And you might think, okay, so why are these migrants, why are they all going? Why do they want to go to Denver, Chicago, and New York City? There's already established communities there. They have heard, hey, there's folks from Venezuela already set up. There's a community there. It's not like we're going to be just wildly on our own. Like this weekend, I was texting with Jeremy Harris from Como. I point over there because that's where Como is. It's over that way. And he was saying he saw people, illegal immigrants, trying to get into a shelter at Pioneer Square here in Seattle. So they've come as far as Seattle. And I'm sure they get all the way up to Bellingham because there's people in the community. But if you're from Venezuela and you're trying to get into a shelter in Pioneer Square is one of the oldest parts of downtown Seattle, and it's also one of the roughest. It's rough. I mean, you get out of your car and it immediately just smells like piss. I'm sorry. It just does. You're just like, oh, that's not good. That's not a good smell. And there's always something going on. There's always a shooting or something. It's one of the more violent areas of Seattle, kind of like anything goes. But, you know, it's just terrible. You know, these folks don't know what they're getting into, but whatever it is, as terrible as Pioneer Square is, it's probably a cakewalk. It's probably a piece of cake compared to the violence and all the crazy shenanigans in their home country of wherever it is, because the trek that they made to get here, I mean, they are literally putting their lives on the line. I want to get out of my country so badly, and I probably won't be able to get back in. This is what I'm willing to do. So, you know, just absolutely crazy. So once the plane landed, we read about that. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, a Republican, adopted a strategy in April of 2022 of busing migrants arriving in the Lone Star State first to Washington, D.C., then to other cities he considered sanctuaries. Now, it's other cities that deemed themselves sanctuary cities up front, okay, including Chicago. On December 19th, he took that strategy a step further. And that's the shenanigans we're podcasting today, right? Step further by flying migrants to sanctuary cities, with Chicago being the first on the list, according to Fox News. City officials said the flights were routed to Rockford due to new rules Chicago put in place on the arrival of migrants. All right, so you're going to put some rules in place. We'll see you on that one, and we'll match you with we're going to fly some folks. Then you deal with them, right? Yeah, you deal with them. Chicago implemented rules in mid-November requiring any drop-offs to occur between 8 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. on weekdays. The city also limited the number of bus arrivals and created a designated location in the West Loop to unload passengers. So if these bus drivers in these bus companies, the charter companies, don't obey the rules, they can get arrested, they can get fined, they can have the bus impounded. I mean, you know, this is the duality of the sanctuary cities, right? We're sanctuary city until we're not. Yeah, it's just the hypocrisy of these sanctuary cities, because no matter how many thousands come into their respective cities, it's nowhere near the millions that have gone through the southern border, period. And yet they're whining about, oh, we need some federal funding. This is the second flight Texas has tried to send towards Chicago this month. The first plane landed at O'Hare in mid-December, carrying about 120 migrants, according to the Chicago Tribune. That's just a fraction of the total of number of people that have been bused to the city. There are about 14,585 migrants staying at 27 active shelters in Chicago, and nearly 600 are awaiting placement, according to the Tribune. State Representative John Cabello, a Republican from McChisney Park, said in a statement Sunday that the Sheriff's Department efficiently handled the migrant plan arriving at the Rockford Airport. That's good, because that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. This is a nationwide crisis, right? We can't have the southern states just handling the vast majority of all the logistics. Everybody's got to pitch in, because this is what our fearless leader in the White House, this is what he wants. This is where we sit. It's mostly closed. Here's what this guy says, though. My only wish is that the plane would have been promptly refueled to return the migrants to their country of origin. Yeah, that's not exactly an option, is it? Once they're here, we're supposed to deal with it, right? Even though, you know, different states are handling it in different ways. Texas is going to start arresting illegal immigrants, or has the ability to. Yeah, that kind of flies in the face of that whole federal law thing, doesn't it? Our area lacks the resources to handle a crisis of this magnitude, so it's crucial to send a clear message discouraging this from continuing in the future, Cabello said. The problem is, and I recognize this guy's a Republican, the problem is that this is the pressure that needs to happen so that we get some kind of change up at the border. Because this is not a sustainable long-term game plan. Yeah, let them all in. Shenanigans for years. Should be fine. Should work out just fine. We are not equipped to handle such influxes without proper planning and resources. And the issue I have with those kind of statements is the southern border states, they don't get any. There's no heads up. You got 1 million people coming through. Hope you're ready. They don't get a heads. They just come, right? They just come. That's how it's not like Mexico's, coordinating all of this. You hear very little from Mexico. It's because they're just undermanned and they just don't have the resources to deal. The state of Illinois should prioritize our existing residents, their safety, and their economic well-being. 100% agree. 100% agree. And that's why you can't necessarily all be a sanctuary city. And yet the ones that have, well, they're feeling some love now, aren't they? Because it's not a long-term program that you can work. It's just not doable. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, let's go Brandon Johnson, said on Face the Nation on Sunday that Abbott is determined to continue to sow seeds of chaos. Actually, he's just spreading the love around. There's no seeds of chaos. Putting people on a bus or putting people on a plane is not chaos. It's getting them to where they want to go, period. And since you're a self-proclaimed sanctuary city, this is where they want to go. And you've already created community there for them by proclaiming yourself a sanctuary city. So what do you expect there, knucklehead? He called on Congress to provide the necessary resources to deal with the issue and better coordinate between all levels of government. We just need to get that southern border closed down. We need to get it ratcheted down just a scooch, right? Just a little bit. Will more flights arrive in Rockford? Officials in Rockford and Winnebago County said that they are not aware of any other flights from Texas coming to Rockford. Oh, guaranteed there will be. Guaranteed there will be. Because it went so swimmingly the first time. Texas doesn't care as long as it's out of the state. They're like, hey, we paid for the plane ride. Bon voyage, Adios. See you later, amigo. However, the Texas Department of Emergency Management is managing the situation. We will remain in contact with them, according to a statement from the city. It's all of just this cluster, right? It's just this ongoing cluster because it's such a cluster at the southern border. Simple as that. I mean, do you remember back at the beginning? Remember back at the beginning of this whole ridiculousness really cranking up, and Kamala Harris was put in as the czar of the border, southern border. What happened with that? What happened with that? And her comment was, or who was it? I think it was her. She said, somebody asked her, have you been to the southern border? No, but I haven't been to Europe either. It was like, okay, yeah, but this is the U.S., this is the United States. The fact that you haven't been to Europe, in office, yeah, nobody cares. We're talking about the southern border, and she just couldn't do anything, right? What was even the point of that? What was the point of that? And now you've literally got the press secretary of the White House, Karine Jean-Pierre, stating, we take it seriously. We take it seriously. 302,000 illegal immigrants in the month of December 2023. That's taking it seriously. Which part of the southern border are you taking seriously? Are you just trying to pack as many through as you can while saying that it's mostly closed? Yeah, which part there? Not really understanding which way you're going or what you're doing. Makes absolutely no sense to me. That's what we got. So, but we've literally got like planes, trains, and automobiles going on right now. Come through that southern border. All right, here you go. Get on that bus and go. Get on that plane over there. Go. So it's just this massive coordinated effort to send these folks all throughout the United States, predominantly these sanctuary cities. These sanctuary cities are rapidly realizing, you know what, maybe that just wasn't such the greatest of ideas. Maybe, just maybe, need to have a little bit of policy at southern border. And now they're just going to blame, the entities that ship the people up. And that's primarily Greg Abbott, governor of Texas. I say, Greg, job well done. I really do. Spreading that love around. I mean, bringing awareness to this situation that nobody else has been able to do because if it's just the southern states, who cares what happens to them? They're Republican anyway. Who cares what happens to them? Well, now people are caring because their budgets are gone and they've got literally hundreds of thousands of people just being spread all out. Somebody's got to take care of them. Might as well be the sanctuary cities, right? So right now, it's not an ideal time to have been one of those big cities that said, well, bring as many as you can here. We'll take them. That virtue signaling that they did. Well, now they've got shenanigans in their town. Oh, different story. This is a humanitarian crisis. This is just chaos. And it's abusive to the people. It's like, no, it's not. These are tough people. They'll make it. They can get there. They made it this far in their 7-country journey trek through the Darien Gap, through just crazy situations. One of the interesting things I was seeing is there was a handful of trucks that had just totally loaded up with all of the luggage that all these folks were bringing across. And so when they actually make the final border crossing from Mexico into the United States, these trucks take all their luggage and all they got to bring is a handbag. That's how they make it across. Apparently that's more orderly. So that's literally, hand baggage for 300,000. It'll be at Terminal 6. Come collect your bags. But it's just this ongoing, just total disaster. And that's why you've literally got flights. You got buses being dropped off in Jersey and being told, the illegal immigrants are being told, catch the next bus, catch the next transit into New York. You get help there. All these things circumventing because you got to put the people somewhere. Can't all stay in these little areas, nor do they want to. They want to spread out throughout the United States, right? So, yeah. And then dropping a bunch off at the Capitol in Denver. There you go. There's the Capitol building. Go talk to the governor. He'll help you out. Literally, that's what we're doing. It's wild stuff. All right. Enough shenanigans for me. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.